Woohoo!
This is a rather weird thing. What you are watching now, if you are watching this video, is not a show or an episode of something or something crazy like that. This is literally a chance to sit down and talk with two people who are doing something that's kind of cool right now. Now, I'm sure all of you are familiar with ownCloud. ownCloud's very cool. It's a lot of people will compare it to Dropbox, only, open source, but it does a whole lot more than that. It's a big kind of webby, awesome platform. And recently, and by recently I mean several hours ago in the wee hours of the morning for me, some of the contributors from ownCloud who have recently left ownCloud Incorporated have formed a new company, a new venture called Nextcloud. So we have two of the most beautiful people on the planet here to talk about that. I thought I'd let you guys introduce yourselves to the internet really quick. Frank, you go first.
Sure, yeah. Hey, thanks, Brian, for having us. That's really cool. Frank Kolicek, it's my name. I'm one of those old crazy guys who are doing open source and free software for a long, long time, close to 20 years now. I mainly started with getting involved in the KDE project, did a lot of different things like events and artwork, a little bit of coding. Then I was a member of the board for some time. Did some other open source projects like the OpenPC initiative, for example, and I was running the Open Desktop Network, building it and running it. If you know kdelook.org and gnomelook.org, that's also something I did. But nowadays, I'm probably most well known for being the founder of ownCloud.
I'd say so.
ownCloud Open Source Project, and then a little bit later also co-founder of ownCloud Inc., like the company around it.
Fantastic. And Jos, who are you and why should I care?
I don't think you should care, but I haven't made 20 years in open source yet, so, nor have I started any projects. I just joined some. I've also been around for a long time. First KDE, like Frank, that's where we met. That's how I know him. After that, I was community manager for SUSE, of OpenSUSE, obviously, which is, also why I know you, because, well, you're now at SUSE. And then I became community manager for ownCloud in 2014. That was really cool. Although I must say, because this is cool. In 2010, when Frank announced ownCloud at the conference, San Diego KDE event, I wrote about it. I was there.
You were
that
there.
Was cool.
You were there.
But after that, SUSE and other stuff.
All right, let's dive right into this here. I'm going to turn this over to Frank. Okay, what is Nextcloud? Give us the real high level, and then we'll break into the nitty gritty here.
Sure. So Nextcloud is I think we have a very technical audience here, so we can basically use technical terms, which means this is a fork. So this is the fork of the ownCloud project, and it is also a new company. So there's also Nextcloud GmbH. It's like an Inc. It's a German company to offer, first of all, drive the development forward, and also offer enterprise products, services, stuff around for bigger companies who want to use it.
Got it. So Nextcloud really is just a straight it fork ownCloud completely. The projects are totally diverged at this point.
It's a complete fork. Obviously, not everything is the same as before, because it would be the same, then why do it, right? So we want to actually improve a few things. Yeah.
No, that's good. All right, so let's take a step back. Let's take a step back here, because we're all probably, if you're watching this video, you're probably very familiar with ownCloud. So we don't need to go too far down that rabbit hole just yet. I've been getting a lot of questions, and people want to know what exactly prompted this. Some weeks back, Frank wrote a blog post about you leaving ownCloud. Very shortly thereafter, Jos and several other developers left ownCloud Incorporated, but you remained as pushing things forward on the community side. What is it that prompted this to happen, this change?
Yeah, good question. So the thing is, I mean, I think it makes sense to look into the original motivation, why I started ownCloud, and also why a lot of people contributed to it, code, and also why someone like Jos, for example, wrote about it in 2010 when there was no job or anything around it, right? I think the reason for that is that I think we are, I don't know, idealistic and stupid enough that we really try to improve a few things here on this planet. And I understand that those are big words, but I mean, at the time, it was basically clear that the world is moving into a future where basically Dropbox and Google Drive and these other cloud services, they would basically host all the files on this planet. At the time, it was like, what do you mean? I just upload a few files. But of course, nowadays, you have so much space there and so many people use it, and it's deeply integrated into your phones and everything. So people really put all their stuff in there. And this is like a huge centralization of this data and communication and personal information that people have. And I think this is not a good future, because it means that we really totally depend on a few corporations, and espionage and privacy questions pop up. And then also, if you're a hacker, right? I mean, we are all hacker, we are developers, so we like to play with code and write interesting stuff. How can we actually influence the system? Is like, if everything is processed and stored and authenticated and backed and whatever and somewhere else, right? Then we have like dumb terminals here. We can hack our phones, but if they're just a terminal to the cloud, then that's not fun, right? So it was basically the idea to, hey, can we do something which offers the same user experience to the users than this centralized cloud services, but doing this as a free software and open source way. So this is why ownCloud was founded. It's open source, you can host it yourself, it hosts all these apps. So this is basically the original idea. This was the original motivation. As I said before, this was done way before there was the crazy idea that you could find a company around it, right? It was just the idea that this is something that needs to be done, and hey, why not we, right? And this is why the first contributors joined the project, and actually a lot. We had like the first developer meeting. It was just, I sent out a mail to the main list, hey, you guys, you're sending patches, you're doing stuff with ownCloud, why don't you just come by this weekend and we hack together? And then 5 people showed up, and then we improved it, and then next time there were 10 people, and then 20 people, and then 50 people, and last conference was 150 people showing up to work together on ownCloud. So this is like the people that I really think that this is a good idea. And
yeah, for sure,
as I said before, there's also like the company. There was the opportunity to have a company around that. And I actually wrote several blog posts before and gave talks about the topic, hey, how can you earn money with free software? What can you do to make a living out of free software? And ownCloud Incorporated was basically the idea to do that. It was the idea, hey, can we build a real startup around this open source project which enables core people to do what they like to do and pay their bills, right, with that? And well, this was the crazy idea. And this worked out for quite some time. I'm actually very happy, and I'm very happy about all the opportunity, and with my co-founders and my colleagues and the investors, actually this brought like ownCloud to a really completely new level. And this is really basically where we are today. So this is really good. Unfortunately, it of course also comes with a few like challenges and not so good things, right? We have like certain constraints if this is like organized in a company way and not really in a community way. At least, well, okay, you can have both, but at least then you need the right balance. And I and some others thought that maybe the right balance wasn't really there. And then of course you have a lot of external factors. You have a lot of like investors and managers, and a lot of people basically have ideas about what could be done. So, and this is when basically the open source project was really didn't get the real attention, or basically wasn't like the symbiotic relationship that existed for quite some time didn't really work anymore. So this is basically, was some pain growing, and well, and this is only basically the community side, right? There's also like from the employee side, and from the customer side, and from different sides. It's basically was this whole structure started to show its age, and it was basically, yeah, it was the opportunity to say, okay, hey, can we do something, basically reboot this somehow and make it better this time, to learn from learn from the stuff we did right, learn from the stuff we didn't right, and then a lot of people, actually, we have a gigantic list of stuff that we want to do better, yeah, this is what we try to do.
Hey, well, that makes a lot of sense to me. So, okay, so then let's dive into what it is you're doing specifically different this time.
Yeah.
So, okay, so first and foremost, you are so the company is spun up as of today, yesterday. So Nextcloud is a new company, right?
Yep.
How is the development process being handled? Is it with a foundation, with a, what's your development model? What's the licensing like for Nextcloud going forward?
Yeah. So if I would answer that question, this would basically mean that I do all the decisions, which I'm not. So actually a few things are quite clear. For example, the licensing question I can answer in a minute. But other things like how specifically the development process should work, this is something that is still that we actually want to collect a lot of input from people to do this the right way. I mean, obviously the direction is clear. We want to make it open and fully transparent for everybody, but how specifically, this is like to be discussed. And we do, for example, we do a big kickoff meeting from the team that we have here, like basically in this new entity, in this new company. We do this next week, and we do lots of brainstorming and whiteboarding to figure out how this all should work. And we also want to invite like all the contributors, all the community out there to participate in that, and then together we come up with a process how this could work. Don't get me wrong, I have some ideas, right? That is like, I'm sorry, I can't.
Oh, I know you do. You've got ideas, Frank. I get that. You got it. You're an idea man. I got it.
I'm not announcing today how the perfect future should work. This is something we will develop this together with the open source contributors.
It's a community thing. Yeah.
It's a community thing. And by the way, it's not only a community thing, it's also a customer thing, and it's also a partner thing. Because one of the things that also could be improved is how ownCloud Incorporated worked together with partners and with customers, because it was more set up like a classic, like monolithic company in a way, where basically there was centralized decision making behind closed doors. And we really want to change this, because ownCloud has the potential to be more than just one product with a few features. This is more like a platform that people will build stuff on top of and below it and next to it. So we will want to work with a lot with customers and partners how to do this right.
So okay, so licensing wise, so let's come back to this a little bit, because you guys mentioned this and this kind of caught my eye. CLA.
Yes.
What are you guys doing that? Because ownCloud has a CLA. A lot of open source projects have CLAs, and they usually tend to kind of irk people. So what are you guys doing in relation to that?
Yes. So this is one of the things that are quite clear already. There's not a lot of discussion needed. It's quite. We hear the same thing from all the people, which is basically that we are no longer doing a CLA. So Nextcloud doesn't require a contributor license agreement
at all.
At all. No
CLA. None. No. I'm just making this clear. I'm repeating this like 3 times.
Okay, more than one. No, sorry. No, not at all. No, not at all. So this is like one of the things where we really think that this should be shared ownership. So someone who is developing something, contributing something, this person should have like the ownership of this piece. This is like most of the time done in open source. And we want to do it the same way. There's no need that the new company has some kind of unique ownership or something. We don't do that.
Okay. Now I'm getting actually quite a few questions here from the live Q&A thing. For those of you watching this live, feel free to open up the little Q&A thing if you have a question. I am going to pay attention to those. But first, I want to make sure you can kind of get all the information out there. So, how is the new company being formed? I understand you guys have kind of another partner company you're kind of working with
Yeah.
to pull this all together. Give me the quick details on that so people know how this is going to work.
Yeah. So this is interesting question because it's obviously you need some funding to do something like that, or if you
I've
don't
heard
really
that. I've heard money helps.
yeah, sometimes. Or I mean, if you don't have money, well, then maybe you only start very small and then grow like over time. But with Nextcloud, there's so much there. Like the code is there, the interest is there, the community is there. So starting with one or two or three people wasn't really an option.
Right.
So which means we really want to start with like a bigger team. And at the moment, we already have like a huge part, a really significant big part of the core group basically on board. I mean, lots of those people who did like ownCloud at the very beginning because it was before it was their job, and also like a lot of other people really like the idea. We have a lot of people on board, which means we need actually some funding. I mean, we're already getting like after a few hours already requests from people who want to buy it. Right? It's already there's a market there.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You guys just literally just woke up. You guys just rolled out of bed.
No, and
Hey, we've got a company.
There are people who want partner requests, and I got CVs already, like people want to work for this. So maybe this is interesting for more than Jos and me here. So
maybe some more people are interested. All right, so what's the company that you guys are working with? How are you guys actually managing to fund this? I mean, I'm assuming that you're pulling in, engineers and the like and everyone together, and you can actually fund them for more than a couple of days. I'm assuming. So how is that working?
Yeah. So the thing is that that we're doing this together with a partner, and this partner is a long-term friend of mine called Niels Mache. He's running a company called Struktur AG here in Stuttgart for a long time. But he's probably most well known to be one of the co-founders of Red Hat Germany, like I don't know, 16 years ago or something. So he's a long time open source guy. He really understands the community, understands the business model, and he's a long-term friend of mine. And he's doing other projects. For example, he developed, or his team obviously, the SpreedMe video conferencing system, and this is actually very fascinating technology because it's one of the most advanced, or maybe the most advanced, I don't really know, but one of the leading WebRTC based free software video conferencing systems. So actually, we're doing this here with Google Hangouts, but hey, maybe next time we can use some open source technology for that.
Yeah, maybe so. So since you're partnering up with someone with a company that's doing like web conferencing, that sort of thing, is there a thought to kind of blend the two together, or put one inside the other and make like a turducken, only it's ownCloud plus
crazy
web
idea.
conferencing? Yeah. So I'm assuming that's a very strong yes.
That's exactly the idea. Yeah. So the thing is that ownCloud is the core of ownCloud. And maybe this is also something we want to improve a bit. The core of ownCloud is really strictly positioned as, and I'm saying ownCloud here, not Nextcloud, ownCloud is strictly positioned as file sync and share, so really like handling of files. And this is, of course, the core functionality. But with Nextcloud, we want to basically do a little bit more the direction how it was originally planned, that it's also more than just syncing files. Syncing files is absolutely core feature.
And what people ask. Right.
Yeah. So this is what people really do with it. But actually, people do more with it. For example, there is the calendar stuff, and the contact stuff is super popular, and they're asking for communication features. So yes, SpreedMe will be integrated into Nextcloud, and because it's just a perfect fit, right? It's free software. You can host it yourself very easily. It's totally federated and distributed. Works peer-to-peer. Uses strong encryption. So these
are all good things. I like these things.
Perfect fit, actually.
Well, and it's already very popular.
Yep.
That also helps.
I think we should talk about the Spreedbox here. So last year, the Spreed guys started, or actually, I don't know exactly when they started, but last year they did a Kickstarter. And the goal of the Kickstarter was to create this metal cube. It's about this big, which would contain Spreed. So basically, it would be like you put it at home, connected to your network.
So like
and
a dedicated web conferencing appliance sort of a thing?
Yes, exactly that. Not sort of, but exactly that. Now, of course, when you do video conferencing and you're trying to work together to collaborate on something, it's also nice if you can, share some files with each other.
Sure.
So they thought, well, there is this ownCloud thing, which is pretty awesome. How about we integrate with it? So they developed an app for ownCloud that would integrate SpreadMe with ownCloud. And we actually announced this back then, December. So they started they succeeded with the Kickstarter. They built this box. They sold out like hotcakes. They made more. They sold out again. And now they're like crazy busy making more and improving it and, getting these things out there. Niels is, I think, at the moment in Singapore. There's a lot of demand, and he went to Australia where he basically took an international design award for the Spread box, which is pretty cool. So it's quite popular. And
this all happened in the last 5 days, right?
Yeah.
So this is all like really hot at the moment.
Yes, very. So this is doing really well, and he's very busy with that. While we're busy, with Nextcloud, of course, and this is going to be part of one thing, right? We're going to do this together. So there is already a huge opportunity.
So at some point, there will be literally the ability to purchase a box that has Nextcloud on it that can do not just the video conferencing stuff, but also all the traditional Nextcloud, ownCloud-ish type things, all in one little appliance box, right? That's
Plus the things that we're adding based on user and customer demand, right? Things we would have wanted to add, perhaps for a long time, but now we can add like calendar and contact support.
That's what I was going to ask next. All right, so where do you guys go from here? What is the differentiator that makes Nextcloud feature-wise more interesting? Like, where do you guys want this to go?
Yeah, so
I know. Asking what kind of new features are you guys going to add in the future? That's ridiculous. I suppose what I'm more looking at is, there's lots of features that are in ownCloud that are very popular, and there's lots of features that show a lot of promise, but need a lot of work. One of the ones that comes up a lot is like the LibreOffice type stuff. So it's cool idea. A lot of people really love where it's headed, but needs work. So those sorts of things. Are there things on your mind with Nextcloud that you're like, these are the things that I think we should dive into first? Whether they actually ship or not is a whole other topic, but where you guys want to go with it?
I couldn't answer this on a high level and on a more practical level. On a high level, I want to say that basically the mission of Nextcloud is still the same, that you have something that you can host yourself. And by the way, this box that will be offered is only one option. You can always still download it and run it on your Raspberry Pi, on your big cluster. If you're a big university or company, you can do this too. It always works. But the real point, the real differentiator to like Dropbox and Google and Apple and Microsoft is that this will be federated and distributed peer-to-peer. Right? There will be now one central server, so it's basically you have your box installation, and then someone else has a box installation, and we can all this communicate to each other. Communicating meaning communicating with a video call, or with a chat session, or with a file share, or with streaming music, or no, it doesn't make sense. Something like that. Really, I want.
Hey, why not? I like streaming music. Come on.
Yeah, but for my music collection, you don't want that, believe me.
Yeah. So okay.
Yeah, no. So this is still there, and we basically want to extend this for all kind of maybe music, right? Maybe there's already a music app available, and maybe we do this like that it can do some kind of peer-to-peer streaming. I don't know, that's really crazy now, but yeah, the peer-to-peer, the federated aspect, that's the real differentiator.
Okay, fair.
I think it's also the way in which you would do this. I mean, you mentioned like LibreOffice Online, right? I mean, there's a company, Collabora, that wants to integrate LibreOffice Online with ownCloud. And again, as a community project, in the sense that they developed an app, and we talked about that in December again. It's really awesome. This is something that definitely should be brought to a new level, right? This is the kind of stuff working with others, with other partners. I mean, Raspberry Pi, Frank mentioned, together with Western Digital Labs. Another one of these things, these things they have huge potential, and we want to capitalize on that potential, so to say. We want to get the most out of it. These are projects we want to put time and effort in, and not leave to volunteers completely and just sit there.
This is the thing. There is so much interest in this idea and this technology, and if you open up, we can all work together and collaborate better, like getting more partners involved. Maybe some other company offers like other enterprise extensions or something. It's an office support or whatever. I really believe, and that's a good thing, and integrate in other technology. I really think that there is a huge potential in that if you're a little bit more open, if you're transparent with your development process, if you accept more external contributions, if you're planning, if your bug prioritization, your whatever, everything you do, if this is in the open, then you can collaborate. And if you collaborate, then this becomes so much bigger.
So talking about the collaboration side of things, so this often gets to be a tricky point, is once you have a company around a product, even an open source product, usually the companies want to have a certain amount of control over everything. I mean, you guys are clearly talking about making sure this is as open as possible and done the open source free software just as God intended sort of way, which I want to high five both of you for. But how do you make sure that continues to work? Like So there's the company, there's Nextcloud, the company, right? And there's a separate foundation, correct?
Yes, there will be a foundation.
How will those two work? So like for example, so there's no CLA. That's great. That already starts off on a really good foot. But how are things like trademarks handled? How are things like the development process handled? Where does that live? Do those sorts of things live over in the foundation, in that good foundation-y way? Do those live over in the company in more of a corporate style? Like how do you guys foresee that working?
Yeah. No, this is an interesting point. And as I said before, I was involved in the KDE project, was on the board of the KDE EV, and this is, for example, a great example how it could work, because the KDE EV holds the trademark of KDE, basically as an independent entity, and this is exactly how we want to do it here. Of course, the company should use it too. It should have the right, because as you said, we want to sell a product and make money and have customers. I mean, this is not totally kumbaya here, right? We actually want to make some money and
you're still a greedy capitalist. I understand. I understand what you're saying.
As long as some people want money from us, then we need money to give it to them. So
I'm with you.
So I mean, obviously,
not be exclusive, though, right? I mean, the thing is, if others want to build a business around Nextcloud, they should be able to do that, and there shouldn't be any exclusivity or special and uniqueness. I mean, this is the kind of stuff, again, we want to do better.
So okay, that's a great example. So more of that is living over on the Nextcloud Foundation side of things. And if someone wanted to come along, like the Lunduke Corporation wants to come along and produce Nextcloud-based appliances or something like that, then we'd be working with the Nextcloud Foundation to make sure we can utilize trademarks properly, etc., and not necessarily Nextcloud, the company, right?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Exactly.
It's interesting. It's a variation from what a lot of companies do. So it's kind of worth pointing out.
It is totally. I mean, the code is HGPL. It's free software anyway, right? You don't have to talk with anyone. You can take it, do whatever you want. But sure, I mean, nowadays companies realize that actually working together has some benefit, right? And we can share resources. So, and this is that we want to build, like real different individuals and companies and customers come together and work there, and and basically together build something great.
So here's the burning question. When is Nextcloud available? Like when do you anticipate people being able to begin actually downloading and setting up Nextcloud and using it?
So that's a bit. Usually, I don't really want to answer that because I'm not the type of guy who
I know you
announces
don't.
something.
And I ask you knowing that full well, my friend.
Right? I mean, yeah. But I can tell you our plans. But that's not a problem.
Tell me the plans. We'll put out a caveat right now. Development plans always change and flux a little bit. So everyone bear that in mind for whatever Frank's about to say.
Yeah. So we will release like a version which is similar to what exists with ownCloud 9.0.
Okay.
We will release something like that very, very soon, in a question of just a very, very few weeks, with probably a few improvements here and there. Let's see, but basically as a starting point there.
The initial forked release of Nextcloud, really in the coming
drop-in
weeks.
Replacement, right? To help people get started, move over.
Yeah.
If they want to.
Yeah.
How
Exactly.
drop-in are you talking about here? Like, how are you envisioning the upgrade, side grade, however you want to term it, process of moving from ownCloud to Nextcloud?
Yeah. So the idea is that this very first version is a full drop-in replacement. This means that if you have an existing ownCloud installation, you can just take Nextcloud and basically replace it with it. You keep as usual, as technical now, your config file and your data directory, and then you basically have upgraded. Then you already have like the new update will then notify if there's a new version available. There will be a few improvements here and there. I want to talk a little bit, not too much about improvement, but it will be better than ownCloud. Let's say it like that.
Okay. I want to get to a couple of the questions from the question room here, because there's some interesting ones in here. If you don't like the questions, don't yell at me. It's the internet's fault. All right, I got the most upvoted question so far is from Peter Lemkin, and he asks, and I quote, obviously you decided not to be incorporated in the United States, but in the EU. Can you give us an idea what difference this can make for an existing ownCloud customer in terms of legal data protection in regards to the safe harbor decision by the European Union?
That's a great question. In a way, it makes a huge difference. In another way, not at all. Sorry. Let me explain. So first of all, this will be a German-based, European-based company because that's just practical reasons. I mean,
you guys are European, yeah.
Yeah, we are Europeans, right? We live here, so this makes sense. Also, like the way like you find like an investor like Niels, for example, in this case, is just worked out. I don't know, better, easier in my case than working with an institutionalized venture capital with like completely different motivation. So actually, starting this was just easier. So this will be maybe a little more boring. I mean, we don't plan to do any IPO or whatever. So this will be a bit of a boring company. But it will probably also be a very sustainable and a company where we all can work on for many, many decades, and then this software will be available for a long, long time. This is actually very important. So I'm actually it will be like a boring but very stable European company.
I gotta say, that's awesome. From someone who has been involved with a lot of software companies, how often are you a developer in a company and you kind of wish that your management would just settle the heck down, stop worrying about going public, and just focus on keeping your company level and consistent, so we're not going to go out of business or expand too quickly or something crazy like that. So I like hearing this. I like hearing free software people saying we're going to build a sustainable long-term free software company. That's very, very, very cool. So basically what you're saying with the EU side of things is you formed it in the EU because you live in the EU. That seems to be the basic answer.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
So it's kind of like I live in Oregon. If I formed a company, I would form it in friggin' Oregon. I probably wouldn't move to form it in Brazil or something like that. That just wouldn't make sense because I don't live there.
You shouldn't do that anyway. If you live in Brazil, you should move to Oregon, actually. but different
Okay.
story.
All right. Hear that, everyone in Brazil? Move to Oregon. We got a question here from Daniel Foray, and I haven't read all of the question yet, but Daniel Foray is the founder of the Elementary OS project. For users these days, the cloud is a transparent thing that happens in the background in apps, not file sync. Which app and desktop environments developers are you most engaged with, or interested in being engaged with, I would add, to bring Nextcloud's benefits to users? So I'm going to just throw that one over to you without any additional question from me.
Yeah, we have a good relationship with GNOME, right? I mean, they have a very nice integration with ownCloud already. There's Google Summer of Code project around that as well. Have been in the past, and we'd love to do more in the future. Obviously, well, Frank and me both come from the KDE community in the past, so there too, we certainly want to work together with them. But hey, Elementary OS is pretty cool. So it would be very nice to get seamless integration. I think, honestly, if you would talk to Jan, or one of our designers, who is very opinionated on a clean, easy to use, focused user interface, I think you will find there's a lot in common between, the visions when it comes to user interaction between ownCloud and Elementary. So again, I think that would be certainly something worth exploring.
Yeah,
I'm scrolling through the list of questions right now. There's a lot of repeat questions, and you guys have done great. You haven't actually dodged any questions yet, which, hey, kudos.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so the upgrade process from ownCloud to Nextcloud, at least for the first version of drop-in replacement, will that include being compatible with the existing applications that work with ownCloud as well, or at least in theory?
Yes.
Yeah, no, this will be at the beginning absolutely possible. In the midterm, obviously, I mean, we have big plans, so we will move forward. So there will be improvements in all areas. But well, the API, basically the app API, is a stable API anyway. So this is nothing we plan to break soon. But we'll move forward. Yeah.
Okay.
So new APIs will be added, so it might be that an app will need the older APIs that are still available and work, but might, if an app then needs new APIs, it might not be able to switch between the two platforms anymore. Down
the road, they may have to diverge a bit, but for the initial launch, it should be compatible across the board. Got it.
Yeah.
Taras Baylog, the beautiful Taras Baylog, asks, I'm still confused at what code will be proprietary and what will be open. If your business model is based on revenue from proprietary software, the focus will always be on increasing that. What are you guys looking at, and are there proprietary components that you're looking to have going forward at all?
Yeah.
Not as part,
It's
Jos, no talking, Jos. Frank wants to answer this. We're going to go over to Frank on this one.
You can already see this is an interesting question. So no, it's so ownCloud has, I don't want to talk too much about the past, but okay, ownCloud has quite a bunch of enterprise-only apps or features that are only available for enterprise customers, basically. And we want to bring this down. We want to basically take a significant number of those features and put them into the open source version. This means, as you mentioned before, obviously we want to have a business model, we want to have customers and so on. We totally get this, and we will concentrate more on basically providing better support and with different support options, and there will be more information about this in the future. But you can already see from companies like Red Hat that this is a very successful model. I can't promise today that there will be zero enterprise apps. So this is and not even at what time. So this is something that we want to basically experiment with. We will bring the number significantly down. We will release way more open source than what ownCloud did. Okay. I can't promise today that it will be zero, but this is definitely the direction we want to go.
Okay. All right. So moving towards having less proprietary and focusing on getting those features purely onto the free software side of things.
Exactly.
Got it. But at least for the time being, there's some lingering.
Yes.
Is that fair? Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, no.
Okay. All right. Let's see. You know what? We've gone through most of the features. Pierre Ozu. I have no idea how to pronounce your last name, Pierre, and I'm very sorry about that. Do you plan to have features like client-side encryption or better upgrade experience, like apps upgrade in Nextcloud?
Yeah. The upgrade experience, this is something, this is like the number one. This is one of the number one. This is very high on the list, and actually, we are at the moment we're already working on that to improve that. It is one of the things that I would just not ideal, and this will be a lot improved in the future. Upgrading of apps, but also upgrading of Nextcloud, um, including the apps then as a whole. Um, so upgrading will be improved. What is the other question? Was client-side encryption? Yeah, there is someone working actively on that, which it's a quite complex feature to get it right. So I can't promise anything when it will be ready. But yes, there's someone working on that.
That's fantastic. All right, We've gone through the bulk of the questions here. You guys did a nice job on that. You didn't dodge any of them. Very, very good job. And you were very diplomatic in talking about moving away from ownCloud and onto Nextcloud. Nicely done. I don't know that I would have been quite so diplomatic. So good job on that one. Is there anything else that you want to make sure people know about going into this? There's going to be a lot of people chatting about this over the next week. This is your chance to make sure that you get the record straight on some stuff. Anything you'd like to throw out there, feel free, guys.
I don't know. I talked too much already, Jos.
I agree. You've been talking forever. It's ridiculous, Frank. Come on.
I know.
All right. Well, where
Yeah,
can
I
people
think
go?
the point of drop-in replacement, we mentioned this already, right?
Yeah.
The goal is to make this whole thing as smooth as possible for users and contributors, everyone else. I mean, we want everybody on board with this one. This is not we don't want to have a big fight or a lot of drama.
Here's a question. So if you're an enterprise or even just like a medium-sized business and you're currently with ownCloud Incorporated, right? You currently have your product over there. Nextcloud spins up and you want to move over. What's the transition path like? Like how easy is it to move on over? What are the costs associated with that? All that sort of thing. How easy is that?
That's a good question. So we will talk a little bit more how this enterprise offering will look like in the next few weeks. But it's really important. I said it several times. Jos said it several times. It's really important that we leave no one back. That we actually have that everybody who is using this has a stable software and it's running and everything. And it's because of that we offer customers who at the moment have an ownCloud subscription. We will offer them free support on our side too, which means. If you
wait. Yeah, clarify this. So if someone has an ownCloud subscription, you will offer them support on the Nextcloud side of things?
Yeah, so this is interesting. Overall, first of all, if you're in the situation that you really have a mission-critical ownCloud installation, but you somehow want to have, I don't know, if you think that you get like better support or better fixes or information from our side, then you can always come to us and say, hey, look, what can we work out? This is always possible. And as a rule of thumb, it's basically that if you're an existing ownCloud customer, but you want to move to Nextcloud, then you can already start to talk to us, and we'll already support you from day one, even while you're still running ownCloud. Later, obviously, we strongly recommend to upgrade to Nextcloud because it has the latest fixes and
of course
security improvements and features, obviously. But this is obviously a transition period, right? You can't expect everybody to do this like immediately. Because of that, we offer like a very smooth transition, and basically everybody can directly get help from us from day one.
Yeah, but the key is if you paid money to get support on ownCloud, you won't have to pay again. You know, you don't have to pay double or something like that if you need us for one thing or another.
That's very nice.
We are nice.
As someone who is extremely cheap, I like that very, very much. That's very delightful.
Just make up a contract, show it to us, and hope we don't notice.
And hope you don't verify it or something.
No,
we should be very clear that the three of us are probably not condoning that approach. None of us are suggesting you actually go out and create a fake contract. Don't give people bad ideas, Jos. Okay, all right. If people have additional questions, and people are going to have additional questions, where should they go?
Well, there's the central website. It's nextcloud.com. From there you have you're only a few hours old now, but we already have quite some information, and we have ways to contact us. And in the future there will be even more information and actually links to other places. So we have, for example, a support forum, we have a GitHub organization, and lots of other places to get information. But it all starts from nextcloud.com. So go there and you find the information there, or it links to the information.
Nice. Do you have a YouTube channel with music videos yet?
Tomorrow. Oh,
okay, that's coming tomorrow then. Good, because all the cool open source projects have music videos on their YouTube channel. That's that's how that works.
Oh, I remember the open source one actually. So wait, you're saying you were involved in that? That's
this guy. All right. All right. So okay. I think let's leave it at that. You guys have done an excellent job with this. If people have more questions, go to nextcloud.com, check it all out. I think there's a forum there. There's a forum there, right?
A very good one. We're running Discourse now, which is great.
Good one.
We're liking it, and a lot of people are already talking and commenting and discussing there. So no more mailing lists, but for people who love email, Discourse can send you all the emails you want. So I'm actually using it via email.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Guys, congratulations on getting things up and kicking. I wish you guys the best. Keep in touch as you guys are figuring this out. And if anyone has any more questions, bug these guys. Jos Borlevet and Frank Karliczek. I probably said your names at least kind of close to correct. Yeah, well done, guys.
Thanks, Brian. Have a great day.
You.
I will.
Good.